Hey everybody, I want to talk about this tweet. Now, just before I begin talking about this tweet, this isn't a rebuttal, this isn't a debunking, this is not a video where I talk about why this tweet is wrong. I actually agree with this tweet. I love this tweet. It hits so well, but I have mixed feelings about it and I want to talk about it. Let me read the tweet out loud first. God, an older woman had a public meltdown moment at me over the summer, and at one point I got so frustrated I snapped, "Your adult kids don't speak to you, do they?" Her face froze in a look of horror for a few seconds, and I felt just pure triumph. Now, like I said, I don't disagree with this at all. I actually agree strongly with what is being said here, and I also really like the story that is being told. But I have mixed feelings, and I really want to talk about them. On the one hand, I feel schadenfreude towards the older woman in this story. I also feel that gotcha moment in favor of Morgan. We need more moments like this, whether it be shutting down transphobes in public or telling a Karen to be more respectful towards customer service workers, and the cherry on top is where Morgan reminded the older woman of her adult kids, which is an instant ponage and rightfully deserved. But my conflicting feelings are ones that I cannot really justify, but I want to share them anyway. In the part where the adult kids are brought up, it struck a chord with me. While it is a moment of realization that her kids do not like their own mother, it brought up my own personal thoughts about my own mother. I don't speak to my mother for more than one reason, and one of them is how she handles me and various other family members being transgender. I feel like I will never be able to speak to her again, and that kind of makes me heartbroken. It really breaks me inside. As light as this story is played up here, I feel a lot of sadness and sorrow for the fact that I can't speak to my mother anymore. It actually keeps me awake at night. It really drives me into a deep state of distress because, in truth, I think about how she feels too. And when Morgan mentions the quote-unquote look of horror, as much as I feel wonderful for the pure triumph that they feel and how wonderful that is for them, I feel equally depressed because of the entire nature of the situation. I worry for that mother, not out of sympathy, but out of compassion, but because she reminds me of some of the things I think about with my own mother, and I feel the same way about my own mother. I think about how my mother must feel that we can't talk, that we can't communicate, that we can't be friends, that we can't be a family. It really crushes me inside. And I think about that with people like her too. So yeah, I don't disagree with what Morgan said in this tweet. I think Morgan was spot on, and I think the way Morgan handled that situation when it occurred is far better than anything I would have done. And I think the big takeaway from this story is that transphobia has detrimental consequences, that fear-mongering and the absurdity of moral panics that we see specifically in the United States, it's detrimental to entire families. It destroys entire families. And you gotta think about, with this mother having a public meltdown, she can't take accountability for the fact that her kids don't speak to her anymore. Because I think about how I was raised, and that's why I don't speak to my mother anymore. And I also think about her kids as well. And thus, there's a lot of pain that comes around in this tweet here, in this story, in this interaction even. Whether it be the mother having a meltdown, whether it be Morgan having to deal with this mother going absolutely batshit, whether it be the realization that her kids don't speak to her anymore, whether it be the kids and being subjected to being raised by this mother who is clearly going through an outrage in public, and thus the audience, me, reading this tweet, and you, hearing me talk about this tweet and unpacking it. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you.